All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Jay again, and it is currently the end of May here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it is getting hot, guys. The heat is cranking up. It is going to be 100, 105 this week, and we are going into June, where it is going to get even more miserable here in the valley. So once again, as I warn in all summer videos, make sure you stay in the shade and make sure that you keep your plants very well irrigated, especially if you're not going to be standing out in the yard with them. All right. So, all right, today we are going to be talking about one of the most amazing fruit trees that you could possibly plant here in the Phoenix Valley, and why there are not more of these fruit trees here in Arizona, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping after this video there will be a lot more of them, because this is literally probably the strongest, easiest fruit tree that you could possibly start with. So, all right, let's get into this video, and I will tell you some details about the plant itself, and I will also go over the fruit, and hopefully you guys will add one of these delicious cherry trees to your yard also. Now, this is a different cherry tree that I went over in a video about a week or week and a half ago. This is a more amazing cherry. I thought I would save this one till later, and so let's talk about this one, and let's see if we can get you guys a little bit more involved in your yards over the summer and out there picking fruit. All right, so in today's video, guys, we are going to be talking about the amazing Barbados cherry. And what is so amazing about this fruit tree? Well, it checks all the boxes here for Arizona. This is a tropical tree, which a lot of you guys like. It is also a full sun Arizona plant, or full sun desert plant, which is also a good quality for Arizona. It produces cherries, which who does not like cherries, guys, especially if you can come out and pick cherries in the middle of May or the middle of June. It grows like a weed is another good advantage. So if you're wanting to grow it like a hedge, like I have out here on the western side of my property, well, it is a really good choice for a hedge that'll take the brutality of the street. As you can see, the street is adjacent to the right of this plant. So it is getting all of the heat and wind that is coming off of the street, which I'm telling you guys is pretty hot and pretty brutal. But these plants look amazing in this situation because this plant is adapted to grow in this type of environment. The other good advantage of this plant is it has low water use, which is definitely a good quality with us sort of running out of water out here in the Southwest. You don't want to have to water a plant so much for it to produce. And I'll tell you what, these guys are productive. I mean, they put on the cherries. This thing is absolutely loaded up today, full of cherries. I'm sorry about the quality of the video. I've got the sun to my back. This is the only way I could get a video of this particular cherry tree, because this one is on the western side. So this only gets western sun. And you can see that he's doing really good out here, even with the wind and the heat that is coming on. Now, you want to eat these in the perfect state of ripeness, which is when they become really dark, like you see this one in my hand right here. This is the state at which you'll want to pick and eat these. If you pick these a little bit early, when they're a little bit on the light side of things, they're not going to be the best for you. They're going to taste a little bit more like a little tomato, which actually isn't that bad if you like tomatoes. But if you want it to actually taste like a cherry, you're going to have to let it darken up like this one that you see here. Once they're that dark maroon color, they are perfect to pick and eat, which also happens to be the same time that the birds start to get them. So birds will start to peck them a little bit, like you can see right here on this one. But they tend to kind of go after the same fruit. So they'll choose one and they'll more or less eat that one, and they'll leave the rest of the cherries alone. So you can see that the rest of the cherries on this tree are in perfect condition. None of them have been pecked at all whatsoever, and they are beautiful and ready to eat very soon. In fact, there's quite a few on here. I know they're kind of hard to see. Here's a little group right here. Let's see if I can focus in on these guys. But he's just covered in cherries out here. And these ones up here are a little bit darker, so these ones will be ready to eat today. And in fact, I'm going to pick a handful of these here shortly, but let me pick one of them now so that you can see what they look like on the inside, and so that you can see how juicy these actually are. So let me grab one of these up here that's a little darker. Okay, let me see if I can get this in focus here. There we go. So that is your cherry. You can see that it is the size of a standard cherry. So instead of having one seed on the middle of this cherry, you're going to have 3 seeds that actually equal the size of one seed on a true cherry. So these are very, very, very good. I'm telling you guys, once you get them the dark color like this, they are very delicious and sweet and probably a little juicy. Let me see if I can do my little squeeze test on this one and kind of squeeze it into my hand. Yeah, you can see that it is full of juice. Whoop. And my hand will fill full of that cherry juice. So on the inside of the cherry, you can see the flesh there. It's sort of a light color. Come on, focus for me. Let me get in the shade here, so we can actually see what these look like. You can see that they've got a lot of flesh to the seeds. And the seeds, actually, you can eat a bunch of the flesh off of these seeds themselves. So extremely juicy, delicious, delicious cherry. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eat this one. Wow. That is also a very unique flavor profile. So when asked about these, wow, those are really good. Always when asked about the flavor of things, people always want to know what it is equivalent to. And it's very sweet. I mean, I am getting a little bit of cherry flavor there at the end of that. But it is a very healthy food. In fact, once you start eating a lot more fruit like these that are healthy, your body will actually start to crave these foods. And you won't want the fruits that are quite so sugary anymore. You'll want a little bit more of a balanced effect. And that is what these cherries do. So very, very, very productive trees, very beautiful fruit, very beautiful little flowers, in my opinion. And I'll tell you too, this is one of the fastest plants that go from flower to fruit of anything that I've ever seen. So these will go from the flower, which is this little pink flower here. They'll go from this to you actually eating the cherry in about a week. So this is the fastest turnover fruit that I have ever seen. I mean, they grow so quickly. One day you'll see these flowers, then the next day you'll see some little green fruits, and then the next day you'll see some beautiful red fruits. So these are definitely the quickest fruit production plant that I have seen out there. Way faster than even like a fig or a mulberry, which those take, you know, about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to actually start to ripen up on the tree. Whereas something like this is going to ripen up in about a week. So nothing is faster than this as far as your production goes. Okay, so I didn't state this earlier, but I have quite a few of these on the property. This is one of my favorite fruits because, like I said, it's one of the easiest fruits. If you guys are wanting easy, like as easy as it gets, it's going to be this Barbados cherry, because nothing outgrows this and nothing is as productive and nothing uses such little water as this plant. So I've got about 13 of these planted on the property. I didn't realize I had quite so many. And actually this looks like it's one out here by the street, but it's actually 2. So there's 2 planted right next to each other. There is this one here, and you can see the pole coming up where he is supported. And then this one also is supported by a pole. and it is right there, right next to it. So you can see that they both have hit that year of production, which is usually about the 2 to 3 year point. So that's another thing I'm asked quite often, is when people buy these cherry trees, is they always ask, well, when am I ever going to get fruit off of these? And really what it comes down to is a little bit of maturity and a little bit of time. So the longer you have this plant in the yard, the more productive that it's going to be and the more cherries that it's going to produce. But it's usually not going to produce good fruit until it gets to about the 5 or 6 foot mark. Okay, so it needs some height on it, and it needs a little bit of girth on it in order for it to start to produce well. So these two are actually planted right next to each other. I'll back up as much as I can here so you can see how big they are. There's actually a mesquite tree that is growing right above them, but they are not using the shade of that tree as support at all. In fact, you do not want to shade this plant at all, or you are not going to get good fruit. You will have a nice plant, but you will never get good fruit. So these two happen to be on the western side of my property, taking the worst of it all. And that's why I wanted to feature these two especially, because I want to show you guys that you can in fact get fruit off of these, even in the worst situation possible, which is this western sun side. So the sheer fact that there's not at least one of these on every property in Arizona, I don't know, other than the fact that they are not a well-known plant or fruit tree, and that is why I'm doing a video today, because I think there should be at least one of these in every yard in Arizona. And also, if you are wanting a good plant to pass your HOA guidelines, which are homes here that have certain guidelines on what you can plant as far as trees go, well, you can definitely plant one of these, because most of the year it's just going to be a green shrub. And then about 4 times a year, it's going to start to produce the cherries. So if you get out there and get them and the birds get them, nobody will ever notice. And people in Arizona have a tendency to leave red berries alone, because red berries in Arizona typically mean poison. So nobody will bother your cherries. And they are so productive. Like I said, you may find 1 or 2 that are pecked by a bird, but all the rest of these are in perfect condition. There's not a bird peck on any of these. So let's go ahead and look at a few more of these, a few more examples of these that I have in the yard, and then I will pick a nice handful of these fruit for my day. But I'm telling you, it's not only one of the best fruits and easiest fruits, but it's also one of the healthiest fruits on the planet. So if you guys look up acerola cherry, that is another name for the Barbados cherry, and you will see how high in vitamin C that this plant is. I think it's like 1 cherry is equivalent to eating like 12 oranges worth of vitamin C. It's got a ton of vitamin C in it, and if you get sick a lot, this would be a good plant for you to have in your yard for sure. So let's look at a few more of these, and then I'm going to pick a nice handful of fruit. Okay, so I know this one's a little harder to kind of see based on where it's planted, but this one is planted on the street side also. So I've got a hedgerow of fruit trees that are along the street side. You can see the street side here, and then it comes up a little bit into the yard. And I've got this metal fence here that I've got a bunch of fruit trees strapped to. And this is one of the first trees that's out here on the street, and you can also see that he is producing cherries. I can't really get back in there. I've got a lemon tree here in the way, but you can see that the top of that fence is at the 8-foot mark, and it has grown quite a bit above that actual mark. So if you're wanting a good shade or privacy plant, the Barbados cherry would be a good choice. Okay, so your next question is, well, can I grow one in a pot? What if I don't have a place in the ground and I want to enjoy some of those delicious Barbados cherries that you're talking about, but I don't have space for one, or I can't put one in the ground? Can I have one in a pot? Absolutely, you can have one in a pot. This one happens to be in a really large planter that is up right next to my house. And I've also got some mint that I've planted in the pot with this Barbados cherry. So it's kind of a two-in-one. I've got some cherries and I've got some mint propagated into one plant together, or one pot together, sorry. And you can see that this is quite a large planter. It is about, I don't know, maybe 3.5 feet across and full of soil, and it is sitting right up here next to my house. And it grows up and it sort of gracefully arches over the area that I walk. And so when the cherries start to develop, they're just going to hang down right here where I can pick them right next to my house. So you can put these in all different light aspects, just don't put them in too much shade because they don't like it. And actually he's grabbing a lot of that afternoon sun that is above the house currently. So yes, they will fruit in a pot. All right, so now I am in the backyard and I am in the afternoon shade on these particular cherry trees. Now you can see that these grow quite well back here, especially in this kind of shaded little area, but they are not going to be quite as productive until they start to gather all that sunlight. So a lot of the cherries, of course, are going to be up here in the sun, and you won't get too many of them down here into the shade. In fact, they're going to grow up into the sun anyway, because that's where they're going to produce a lot of that fruit. So these get a little bit more shade, and you can see that they're not quite as happy. So this is a full sun plant only. All right, and here we have another one. This is a larger one, and I'm not going to bore you by going through all the different Barbados cherries that I do have, but I did want to show you that they grow sort of in different light aspects, but they do prefer the full sun. This is a larger tree now. This one is, I think, going on the 5 or 6 year point on this particular cherry tree. And he is also, as you can see, producing, if it focuses, some really nice fruit and some really nice cherries on him. Now this one's a little bit bigger, like I said, so I'm going to try to get down here to see if we'll focus in. You can see that this is a larger plant, or a larger tree. This one has a substantial trunk on it. I think it is around 2 inches thick. And this one grows up and shades almost the entirety of my guest house. So you can see he's real tall, real big, real wide, and producing fruit. Definitely producing cherries. Lots of cherries. You just gotta find them, and you won't find them till they turn red, because they're gonna be green at first. Okay, so this one is providing a lot of shade, like I said, to my guest house that is sitting right behind it. So this is one of the bigger ones that I have in the yard. But like I said, I'm not gonna bore you with any more, so let's go pick some fruit and see if we can get a nice handful of these cherries. All right, guys, and there we have it. So I picked the cherries off of the 2 front bushes in the front that I just went over, and you can see here that it has produced a very nice bowl full of cherries. And if you get something like this every day for a couple weeks here in a row, it's pretty amazing, especially here in the Phoenix Valley area, because it's hot, guys, and not a lot of stuff grows here. So bottom line, guys, if you guys live in Arizona or you live in a hot region and you're wanting to grow something unique and you're wanting to grow something different and something extremely healthy and easy, guys, I'm telling you, that's sort of the word of the day, because we all struggle on fruit trees here in Arizona because it is so darn hot. But if you can get a nice bowl full of cherries like this every day in the summer, not to mention other fruit, guys. I mean, there's other fruit coming on right now. I need to do quite a few more videos. But I did want to go over the cherries and let you guys know that these are a different cherry than the one that I did a video just about a week ago. So, man, the smell coming off these is quite amazing. I am going to go inside and eat these. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe, guys. Please subscribe. That's what keeps me going. Also, hit a like and leave some comments below, because I do read your comments. Like I said, I may not answer them, but I do read them. And if you've got some ideas of some videos that you would like me to do, well, I'm definitely good at interacting in that case, and I will do some videos on some different unique fruit trees. So this wrapped up the video on Barbados cherries. These are the Florida sweet variety. I do carry a lot of these trees at my nursery, so I do have some Barbados cherry trees available if that's something that you are interested in purchasing. But bottom line is I want you to try the fruit and definitely get it out there and do something. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Like I said, please hammer that like button and please subscribe. That'll keep me going with these videos on fruit. All right, guys, thanks for watching.